Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Skin Wellness Pro Show, the official podcast of the Nutritional Aesthetics Alliance. I am your co-host, Rachael Pontillo, president and co-founder of the Nutritional Aesthetics Alliance. And I want to, of course, introduce you to my co-host, Tara Swagger, our fabulous education specialist.
Hello, excited.
Yes, we have a fun topic today. So I'm not going to lie, the past couple of episodes, we kind of went a little deep. You know, we talked about some conversation. We had some conversations with some topics that were a little hard. You know, we talked about some struggles and overcoming challenges and all of that. So I thought it might be fun to do something a little bit lighter today. So we talked about health hacks last week, and I thought this time, why don't we keep it on the surface and talk skin hacks?
Yeah, it's a great topic. I mean, and it certainly segues from last week's episode with health hacks. And I know, like, as I was thinking about what my skin hacks are, I mean, I'm going to fully admit that as a nutritional aesthetics practitioner, that mine very much are similar to my health hacks. And yours probably will be a little bit too, I'm sure. But I think that, you know, when you integrate these types of practices and lifestyle into what your skin or anti-aging should look like, I think that it's hard to separate that process by which what you eat and your environment is having a direct effect on your skin. So I would say that mine are mostly that. Obviously, I think it's great if everybody does at least a basic skincare routine at night. And I wouldn't even try to suggest like product specific for that. I know you probably won't either. You'll probably be a little more ingredient organized with what you think is good.
Yeah, because you know I make everything.
Yeah. Which I think is great because I mean, it's, you know, we live in this world where everybody is seeking the magic product. And I tell people all the time, I'm like,
the fountain of youth in a bottle.
Yeah, there's no such thing. Stop being sold. Okay. Stop being sold something that's trying to tell you that it's going to be this way. And I would say for all those estheticians or other skin therapists or people in this industry that might have clients asking about this, even if you're doing just diet lifestyle, my biggest one I get from clients will be like, is this the eye cream? Should I get this eye cream? And now I carry a great brand and my eye creams are expensive. And I always say, well, what's the problem, right? Almost everybody's going to talk about dark circles under their eyes.
Or puffiness.
And I tell them, I'm like, don't buy that. Don't buy the eye cream. The eye cream will do nothing for you. What you really need is to assess why your under eyes are dark.
Yeah.
And then my first question is always, so this will be my first hack I'll share with you. My first question will be like, how do you sleep? The answer is always terrible. So I go, so the answer is not going to lie in your eye cream, right? Because health hack number one, I mean, skin health hack number one is sleep for me. Because I think, you know, you lacking that sleep is going to have an effect on your organs and the way that your body's repairing at night. And if you're not getting that sleep, you're now going to have a multi layers of different effects that are negative on your body, which is in effect going to cause you some issues on your skin. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, sleep is my first skin hack. Is that sleep good. And if you're not sleeping good, you got to figure that out. So you're not running out and buying eye cream. And I guarantee you, if someone's listening to this, they probably have, if they have under eye packs, they probably have a bunch of different
15 eye creams and gels and serums.
Right. Because they're trying to get that magic eye cream. But the truth of it is, it's sleep. You got to get good sleep. And I mean, there's other reasons for under eye issues.
Sure. And there are genetic factors at play,
there are genetic factors at play. That's true.
Hydration, kidney function. Like there's
right.
so many things that could cause puffiness or dark circles under the eyes. And definitely there are some things that you can't really do much about if it's a genetic thing or.
But let's face it, I guarantee you, if you ask, I would say almost every single person that wants to buy eye cream, if I ask them why and they say it's their dark circles, and I ask them if they sleep good, they all say no.
Yeah.
Every single one. So I think that while some of those other things are at play, they're probably, well, at least with the genetics, in my opinion, is they're such a small amount of people that are really struggling with under eye stuff. And they've got other things going on. So
yeah,
That's
true. Sleep's very important, and sleep is a great time for the skin to rejuvenate itself, because it's the one time that we're not stressed. We're not actively stressed. We are in that parasympathetic mode, which is, our resting mode, rest and rejuvenate. And that doesn't mean that we're not still making faces while we sleep and whatnot, but overall, we're using our facial muscles a lot less while we sleep, and we're in contact with fewer things that could cause irritation or that can cause free radical damage, and so on and so forth. So I really agree that getting lucid sleep is super important. And if you're not getting good sleep or regular sleep, then it's a really important thing to try to address why that is. And I know in our certified nutritional aesthetics practitioner training program, in the lifestyle pillar, we talk a lot about different ways to help our clients improve their sleep hygiene. And we've talked about that a bit on the show as well, but it is really important. But aside from sleep, I want to know, Tara, what is your nighttime skincare routine? And you're allowed to name products. It's okay.
Well, I have to say that I lean dry. My skin leans dry. And so, I do a lot of oil on my skin. Oil is my favorite. It's even my favorite over creams. And I don't know if I just discovered this like as I got older, because when I was younger, and of course there's a lot of fear built up around putting oil on your skin, but when you really want to get down and dirty with what you're putting on and it being the most nutritive, I think a good, nice emollient natural oil is really, really good. I mean, so I use osmosis products personally. And so I use the Immerse oil, which is incredible. I love it. And I do my gua sha with that as my nighttime routine. I do use a few serums from them, but I would say that I don't live and die by what I put on my skin, because I would say that another one of my skin hacks is my gua sha tool, because and my hands. I would say my hands, let's say hands first, okay? Because when I have clients and when I teach them face yoga and I teach them some tricks to do gua sha with, all of that stuff can be done with your hands, but doing facial manipulations with my hands when I'm putting my oil on, I mean, there's all these benefits to doing that, because it's obviously bringing blood to the surface of the skin. It's releasing tension in the muscles, when you've had your emotions or using your muscles all day. And so my night routine almost always is some kind of facial manipulation with my oil. And I know, you with the things that you do and you make, I'm sure you probably have some really nice oil suggestions too.
Oh yeah. I love my oils.
Yeah. And it feels the best. I think first of all, there's something so nourishing about oil going on the face as opposed to creams. I don't know. For me, that's the way I feel. And I wish that more people had less fear about oil. And it's probably my number one recommendation in my business and in my store is oil. And people look at me, they're like, oil on my face? That's
gonna make me break out. Oh my God.
Yeah. So there's it's gonna make me break out, or it's going to make me look greasy.
Right.
And there might be some reasons for that, I guess. But for the most part, I think there's something rich about putting oil on at night. There's something about how that winds you down as your night ritual to go to sleep, which is good. But manipulating it, obviously, if you put cream on, you're not able to manipulate your face the same as you do when you put
right, because it evaporates.
Yeah. So I would say almost always oil. I do use a few serums, but I really don't think that for me, those are my hacks, because I think it's the natural stuff, like using my hands and putting a beautiful oil on, always cleansing the skin though. Like I find that once in a while I get these people that tell me they're not cleaning their skin at night. And I'm like, but why? Like,
What do you
if you,
use to cleanse your skin? Like when you have makeup on, what do you use at the end of the day?
so if I wear makeup, and I don't wear a lot of makeup anyway, but if I do, I like to use a makeup remover cloth. That's one that you wash yourself, the kind that you don't add any products to. And so that's my favorite thing, because I'm not introducing any kind of stuff on my skin to remove makeup. When people use makeup wipes that are like disposable, I'm just so grossed out by those, because
Well,
they're
it's
full of
really hard to
crap.
preserve them. They are way
Yes.
funkier than you would think. Like if you were to buy a pack of makeup remover wipes and take like a microbe test dip slide and like touch
No,
it, you don't even want
no,
to know. Like even if they are
no.
preserved, just the nature of them being trapped wet in that plastic
So
and then opened
gross.
and closed repeatedly
Yeah.
with air going in and contaminating it. uh-uh
So
that's like,
folks, we just ruined makeup wipes for you. Okay.
no,
No
like,
more of
but
those.
seriously, I wish it wasn't true, but I
Yeah.
have yet to find a makeup wipe formulation that does not gross me out as a
Yeah.
formulator,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because I've seen the test results.
Yeah. So I like to remove with I have makeup erasers. They're just a cloth. It's just a
Yeah.
microfiber cloth, and different brands make them. And you use it to take off all your makeup, and then you can throw it in your washing machine.
Hmm.
So it's
So
reusable.
sustainable.
Yeah, I love that. It's reusable. You're not continuing to buy. You're not introducing all these gross
Single use
microbes
stuff.
and yeah.
Yeah.
So I do that, and then I generally just use a gentle cleanser. The one I use right now is from Osmosis. I do also love an oil cleanser.
Hmm.
And so oil cleansers are so nourishing and so great. And how funny to me too, when I tell people, oh, well, what are you using for cleanser? And I often want to recommend an oil cleanser for someone who's like not hyper committed to a skincare routine. I think oil cleansers are great because they can also tackle some of that makeup, but they're so nourishing,
Right.
when it leaves behind nutrients. But yeah, I mean, I actually do a pretty simple routine. But I have to say, for me, it's all about those facial manipulations. And I've seen my skin change over the years from doing that, doing face yoga,
Hmm.
and doing my facial manipulations. And so to me, that's a great skin hack, because nothing brings more vitality to your, I mean, when you think about it, we go for massages all the time, people do,
Hmm.
right? And we're rarely massaging or exercising any of these muscles. And when I think about the idea of how we age, and we're losing estrogenic fat pads over time, and there's some reasons for that, which can be addressed if you're working with somebody who understands that. But also the fact that your muscles are not being utilized the same as they were when you were younger, or they're kind of weakening over time. Like you can imagine, like you can feel that these wane. We have this platysma that comes over here, and so
Hmm.
when it comes up over your chin area and it starts to droop, we start to
Hmm.
lose vitality in the muscles, right? So for me, that's such a great skin hack, is to be working that tissue. I'm not doing it all usually separate. I'll do it with my
While you're
skin
doing your
routine, right? So
skincare
it's like
routine.
layering in, multitasking, all the stuff. But
Yeah.
to me, I just think that's a huge value for people to know, like, if you're doing your skin routine, take the time to like work your stuff into your skin,
Absolutely.
and learn. And you can learn a few moves from a lot of people, like, if someone teaches a yoga class, face yoga class, or there's some great people that have some books with some different styles of how to do it. But that is a great anti-aging healthy skin hack, because it doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
And
You don't
those are
need
kind
any
of,
tools. Like you can use a
yeah,
gua sha tool or a roller or
you
something if you
can, you
want,
can.
but you do not have to. Hands
True.
are sufficient.
Yeah. And so I think that's such a great hack, because it doesn't cost you any money. And
Yeah.
those are my favorite ones to work with when I talk to clients about what they should do for their skin. It doesn't mean you don't have to buy all the things. Now, sometimes buying all the things is great because you're getting some great stuff, but I
And
just
sometimes
think
it helps people commit to a routine because people assign more value to something that they have
it
paid for,
can. Yeah.
but it's not necessary.
It's not. And so those are great tools, your hands to
Yeah.
manipulate your skin. All right. So give us your hack. Give us your
Okay.
hacks.
So I'll take you through my nighttime routine,
Okay.
mostly because I don't really have much of a morning routine,
Okay.
but nighttime, whether I'm wearing makeup or not, typically, so I do like a good emulsion. I like a good cream, but my creams, because even though like I grew up with very oily acneic skin, since I turned 40, well, I'll be 46. So I would say since 40, things have definitely started shifting to be drier, but I still do have large pores. I still will wake up with an oily T-zone, but my cheeks, around the mouth, like that does tend to get drier. I will sometimes wake up and have like flakes on my cheeks from just that dryness. So it's definitely changed from all over oily to just minor T-zone oiliness now. Um, so I like a good cream that has a higher ratio of oils to water. That's called a water in oil emulsion.
More oil.
And it's not easy to find mass produced
Hmm.
because most mass produced creams and lotions are mostly water.
Hmm.
And that's because water's cheap.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why those products evaporate so quickly because they're mostly water. Most creams and lotions that you buy at the store or even at the spa for that matter, if water's the first ingredient,
Hmm.
that's probably not going to stay on the skin long enough to really make that much of a difference. So if you have something that has more oil in it than water-based ingredients, and I don't use water in my own products, I use water containing natural ingredients like hydrosols or herbal infusions
Hmm.
or like aloe vera gel, something
Hmm.
like that, because that way I'm able to get water soluble nutrients into those outer layers of the skin, whereas oil soluble nutrients are different.
Hmm.
So I like to bring both water based stuff and oil into the skin, but because I make it for myself, I'm able to control exactly how much oils and butters are in it versus water containing materials, just because I want it to stay on the skin if it's a leave-on product. But for removing makeup and for cleansing, I love a good oil cleanser. I also love a good cold cream, which cold creams are great because it kind of, the glycerin in there gives you a little bit of a cleansing action, but it's not a foaming action. So you're not
Hmm.
stripping anything away.
Hmm.
Um, and you still kind of get that hydrating, refreshing feel from it.
Hmm.
Another thing that, I've had a lot of my clients have been asking for either cleansing balms or oil cleansers that kind of do wash away a little bit better and don't leave that full like emollient barrier on the
Hmm.
skin.
Yep.
So, we can put a surfactant in there that is oil soluble that can help it kind of turn like oil to milk and rinse away, still without stripping because you only put a little bit, but that's what I've been enjoying is kind of a little bit of a play on the oil cleanser by making it like an oil to milk cleanser or a cold cream that washes off just a little bit better than a standard oil cleanser. And with a cold cream, you also don't have to worry about spilling anything because it's solid.
Yeah.
So that's what I like to remove makeup with. And then I will spray my face with my hydrosol blend and just kind of wipe off with a reusable cloth whatever residue might still be there. And then I'll spray the hydrosol on again, leave that on, and then I apply my moisturizer on top of that. If it's winter time, I'll do a thick cream, again, with more oil than water, but I'll still use the cream because I want the hydration in there. And I'll work that in. And then I might pat on an oil serum on top just to create that lipid barrier. Um,
Sounds
then
nice.
when the weather gets warmer and it gets more humid and I don't need that extra lipid barrier,
Hmm.
I'll still use that thick cream because my drier skin on my cheeks really likes it. And I'll apply it on top of my damp face, which is still damp from the hydrosol. And then I just really take the time, like you did, to work it in and make sure that, you know, I'm really working this area around my mouth because, you know, I'm conscious of preventing those marionette lines from
Yeah,
forming. That's something that the women
totally.
on my mom's side of the family do tend to have very
Mm-hmm.
pronounced. Um, and I'm also very conscious of my forehead because, in case you didn't notice, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I make a lot of faces. And I, whenever I'm working on something, my brow is always furrowed. And it's funny, I remember being in a yoga class once, and after the meditation, the teacher pulled me aside and she's like, what are you so upset about? You're frowning the entire time you were meditating. I'm like, oh no. So I actually sleep with brownies, which, for
Mm-hmm.
those of you who don't know, brownies are they're made out of craft paper. It's just craft paper, little pieces that you can tear up, and you create like a cast on your forehead. And it's just a vegetable based adhesive. It's literally no ingredients other than the paper and the adhesive. And you put it on and it hardens like paper mache. And
Mm-hmm.
while you're sleeping, it prevents you from frowning. And what it also does is it makes you super conscious, because during the day, even after you take them off, if you frown, you can feel it. So
Mm-hmm.
it helps you be really conscious of how you're using your facial muscles.
Well, you
And
know, the whole facial muscle thing is such a big deal too, because um our face is where we show all the emotion. Like, we don't
yes,
show emotion in our arms or our legs or any part of our other
true.
body or our skin. It's in our face. And certainly shifting. And I think I remember when I did some training with I did some training with Uma Gosh, who does
Hmm.
face yoga, and she does an amazing job with that.
Oh my God,
I
she's a great
rem
teacher.
I know, and I remember her saying, um, you know, stop making she said something like just stop making the
Stop making
faces.
faces.
Yeah. And so I think there's something conscious around that too, which the frownies are doing that for you. Like, they're kind of
Yeah,
helping
it's
you
just
kind
kind
of
of
bring
like
attention.
giving you
Like,
awareness so that you can be like, oh, I'm frowning. Let's just smooth that out.
yeah, and shifting, like, she's like, you can still show your emotion without, like, I mean, she didn't say it this way. I'm going to say this, without jacking up your whole face. Like, and I can make a lot of faces too, right? So I think as you age now, again, it's another simple hack, right? Like, you're putting on something at night, it's creating some way for you to kind of remember, like, I don't need to scrunch up every time. I don't need to go like this over
Yes.
everything I'm questioning. Like, I can still be like, or, like, have an expression that's not so drastic. And I think if you can tailor your emotional face that way, I'm sure. Now I'm in my 40s too, so I'm sure that's, if you can practice that enough, by the time you're even in those older ages, maybe you've reduced some of that to a degree where it's not continuing to make you all these wrinkles and lines and
Yeah.
stuff. Totally.
And I love the brand because it's so simple. Like, yes, they have a skincare line that accompanies the facial patches. I don't use their skincare, I use my skincare.
Yeah.
But the frownies themselves have been around since the late 1800s. It's fifth generation women owned family business, which I just love that story. You love hearing of a business
Totally.
that has been passed down from mother to
Totally.
daughter and mother to
Yeah.
daughter and so on and so forth. And, you know, these frownies apparently have been like secrets by, like, you know, starlets of
Mm-hmm.
they've used over the years, even before Botox and fillers was a
Mm-hmm.
thing. Women, you know, were using frownies. They were kind of a Hollywood secret. And I think nowadays, you know, if you have a natural alternative to Botox and you don't want Botox, like, I'm someone who does not want Botox or fillers.
Agree.
No judgment
Totally.
against people who want that.
Totally.
It's just not for me.
It's not for
And
me either.
I want to embrace aging, and I do believe that there is beauty at every age, but that doesn't mean I'm in a rush to get there.
Well, I think that there's, being that we work in our fields in a holistic, natural way, there's plenty of things that can be done, in your skin hacks that don't require getting Botox, right?
Yeah.
And so what I think the unfortunate part about Botox is that they're really encouraging people very, very young to have some of
Right.
these injections. And sadly, you know, there are side effects. So
There are.
when people say they're not, or they're very low, I don't believe that to be true. I think there's more so than going on than people realize. But I
Yeah.
also think that, you know, we have beauty. I mean, I remember in beauty school, like the first chapter is about the history of beauty, right? And so they
Mm-hmm.
go back to like the Egyptians and things that
Mm-hmm.
women have always found ways to beautify themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly when we didn't have Botox, we had a lot of things that we would do, right?
Yep.
Like, so you've got frownies that have been around for a while and people would wear
Yep.
those to bed. And, you know, I remember pictures of women wearing their curlers to bed, and some people wear, I mean, I wear a silk bonnet if I did my hair and I don't want it to, you know, so there's all these things that we do and they
Mm-hmm.
don't require injections. And
Right.
I think, you know, even cold cream, like that's been
Yeah.
around for
Like,
everybody. Everybody remembers cold cream, right?
yeah, you watch an episode of Mrs. Maisel and she slathers it on her face
Yeah.
before bed. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, cold cream was the first mass produced cosmetic.
Yeah.
It was, or it's been around far longer than that. And it was made with very, very simple ingredients. It wasn't made with petrochemicals until mass
Right.
production
Well,
deemed it so, because it was
I
cheap
guess
to
that's
do it
what I
that
mean.
way.
Like we don't have to go to injectables to get results, but it does require that you spend a little time nourishing yourself, right? You know,
Yeah.
you just went through, you had this night ritual, you know, mine's a little more simple than that, but it's still my ritual, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of nourishing yourself, and that holistic part of beauty lies in the action that you provide
And
yourself,
what
right?
you enjoy doing for yourself. Like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, when I was, fresh out of aesthetic school, I was using multiple serums and eye creams and a neck cream and the exfoliants and the night cream and the day cream. Like I had probably 15 products in my medicine
Mm.
cabinet. And now I have my cleansing cream or oil, depending on what time of year it is, my hydrosol mist, and then my regular moisturizer cream, and then an extra oil in the wintertime. And that's it. Like I don't exfoliate regularly. If I put a mask on once every couple of weeks, removing the mask will exfoliate
Yeah, of course.
reasonably,
Well,
because it
I
has a
think that
texture to it.
well, and I think for anybody listening, if you're not a professional and you are sort of like, wow, I kind of want to sort of put this together where I have some kind of night routine that incorporates some of these things, you know, my advice would be look for a holistic esthetician, look for
Yeah.
somebody who does work in this vein, because, you know, I don't, it's rare that I have a client that's on a bunch of serums. Now, granted, I have some that are, and I also like my serum. So, you know, I have a few and I use them or whatever, but it's not my first thing, right?
Mm.
Like for me, my first thing is that I want my client to develop a relationship with doing things naturally to their skin, and that they're kind of investing in themselves as opposed to buying and spending a whole bunch of stuff. So 15, I mean, we can look at your skin, it's beautiful, right?
Well, thank you.
And you're not using 15 products, right? So
No.
it can be done. So I think what people
And I'm
don't
not using expensive products. Like, look, if I was to sell my products, they would be expensive because
right,
they're made with expensive
right.
ingredients.
Right, of
But
course.
to make them for myself, it's really not expensive, because I buy the
Well,
ingredients in bulk and then I can just make it whenever I need it.
and I think there's just something to be said, because I think people have this understanding that the only way they're going to look a certain way is if they're spending a lot of money on their products, or
Right.
they're spending a lot of money on injections or all that kind of stuff. Injections are a different look, right? Like
It
what
is a
you
different
say,
look. It's
that's
it's
not, it's
and some
not.
people like that look.
Yes. And so, you
Some
know,
people don't. It's not for
yeah.
everyone.
And I think that the average person is not necessarily falling into that category, but I think they're trying to pull people in by making them like totally freaked out about, you know, if you have 11s right here, like this is common, right? Your 11
Mm-hmm.
wrinkles between your eyes, for just those that are listening. That's a pretty normal space to have some wrinkles. Now, once somebody maybe points them out to somebody who wouldn't normally want to do injectables, they start to freak people out and they'll be like, oh my God, I have those. Now it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. There's ways to work on that, simple little massage techniques that you can do.
Yep. Just like
to
that pinch.
Yeah. And it's simple. And so I think that like, if someone just can know that instead of them hurrying up and getting some injections, which then lead to more injections, which then lead to
Right.
more injections, you're watching a movie and you're manipulating some of that tissue and kind of opening it up and bringing that blood flow in. Those are like very great, good skin hacks for people to not get themselves involved in a whole nother outlet of trying to look younger or not have wrinkles. You're also supposed to have some wrinkles, like we move our face.
Right.
So, there's a piece of that skin hacking that needs to be that you accept that
Right. You
you
give yourself
have.
permission to make facial
Yeah.
expressions
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, try not to do them too much, but
right. It doesn't
if
have to be exaggerated. Like we don't have to
yeah.
be like, Ace Ventura pet detective over
Right.
here.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, skin hacks can be actually just very simple. Like I think most of the time when you read magazine articles and they're talking about skin hacks, there's a list of products. This is my
Yes.
favorite product for this, and this is my favorite product for that. And to be truthful, I love the product line that I use. I know you love the products that you make. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that they have a very awesome place in our ability to like have nice skin. But the truth is I can't really think, all of my quote unquote skin hacks were all something that was really natural, sleep, nourishment, what I'm eating. I personally, and not everybody does this, but I personally believe an animal-based diet
Mm-hmm.
is one of the best ways for me to nourish my skin. And I do that with collagen and bone broth, things that I'm making sure in my diet regularly to feed my skin. Movement and light, these
Mm-hmm.
are not things that are on the shelf at
Right.
your skincare store. But they are really the most valuable because if you're not nourished, if you're not sleeping, and if emotional stress is taken over, if your light environment is filled with just indoor junk light, computer light, no sunlight, you're setting yourself up for a really difficult time to fight those signs of aging with your products, right?
Yes. Like I think people put too much weight on products and that's by
Agree.
design. The industry was
Yeah.
designed that way. The industry has convinced the public that we need skincare products to have nice skin, where the truth is that's not true. The
I
industry was
know.
created for a completely different reason, and
Well, and
then the aesthetics
it's
industry was created to support the cosmetics
right.
industry.
And
It's
what
all
is it?
about
Billions and
selling
billions of
product.
dollars. Yeah, billions and billions of
But
dollars.
there's no product that's going to fix years of bad habits. That's just the truth. Just like
Mm-hmm.
with one's diet, there's no detox, there's no magic supplement, there's no fad diet that can undo years of eating junk. There's no
Yep.
workout that can undo years of sedentary behavior quickly. It takes
Mm-hmm.
finding what works for you and being consistent about it and looking at it holistically.
Yeah.
But, the topical stuff, in my opinion, can be fun. It
Yeah,
can
of
be
course.
pleasurable. Like the aromas that I get from the products that I make, like when I'm putting that on, it's like I'm in a flower garden. It
Yeah, yeah,
smells
yeah.
amazing. It helps to, uplift my mood. I
Well,
have
and
a client that I'm formulating for right now that wants her cream to smell like cake. And I'm
oh,
able to do that. And when
okay.
you put
All
it on,
right.
it's like, ooh, I mean, it's
So
pleasure.
So would you say, because I think this is the way I look at it, like in my practice and lifestyle, I know, I believe that supplements in my lifestyle are for optimization and not to replace my food stores.
Right.
So would you say you would probably also say that about skincare? Like to me, skincare, what's great about skincare, good skincare, is it's optimizing your
Yes.
skin, right? But if you don't have for all that other stuff kind of like in play as part of the practice, then you're not able to replace with your skincare, what
Yep.
you miss in your lifestyle. Yeah.
I think that's a really good way to look at it, because supplements are never meant to be a replacement for healthy eating.
Right.
And
Right.
skincare, even skincare that contains a lot of, actives and performance ingredients and extracts and vitamins, the bioavailability of those ingredients is far more limited than the industry or the companies selling them would want you to
For
believe.
sure.
You're
Yep.
going to get a lot more nutrition for the skin by using ingredients in a form that, is as close to whole as possible,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's a plant-based skincare regimen, which includes things like botanical extracts and hydrosols and oils that are pressed from seeds and infusions that are taken from leaves and petals and stems and whatnot, like that. There's different nutrients in different parts of plants that
Mm-hmm.
you can extract, and it can all come together in a product that is a really beautiful way to look at it, because not only are you getting the vitamin C or the carotenoid antioxidants that the body can store and convert to vitamin A when it needs it,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also getting the minerals, the
Mm-hmm.
enzymes, the other little helper substances that you don't necessarily think of, but they're there to help the skin take those nutrients in and use them. And that's kind of the same thing with eating whole foods. You get all of those antioxidants, you get the
Mm-hmm.
phytochemicals, you get the essential fatty acids, the amino acids. You're not just getting the vitamin C or the vitamin D. And
Mm-hmm.
like with food, sometimes it's not always possible to get everything you need, and you might need to supplement for that optimization. And I kind of look at skincare the same way. Like, I
Yeah.
have some clients who make beautiful plant-based products, but they want to add some vitamins to it to just give that optimization, and that's fine.
Yep.
And then we're also seeing a big resurgence in animal-based skincare products. We're seeing
Yes. Yes.
tallow used a lot. We're
Yep.
seeing goat's milk. We're seeing
Mm-hmm.
things like emu oil and
Well, I mean,
camel's milk and stuff
back
like
to
that
the
used topically.
back to the history, right? Like
Yep.
women using these products because that's what they
What
had
was available
available.
to them.
Yeah. And the truth is that the body knows how to use what's in nature
Yep.
quickly, because it's part of the energetic value of what is in our environments, and that's part of what's going to speak to the energetic value in us. And so yeah, I mean, I love I have a couple of tallow based lines that I've worked with over the last couple of years, trying, and even some tallow based makeup, which I love. And I love because I feel like it doesn't feel like you're putting something foreign on your face, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I love that. I think it's great. And I think this is the way back, right? This is the way back from all of these peeling and all these quote
How
unquote
we
skin.
undo that damage. And
Yeah.
it's
And
not
all
just we
these,
undo the damage to the skin, but we undo the damage to us as humans collectively. I think
yeah, I
you and I were
know.
talking about this. I think we were talking about it before we filmed last week, and I it stuck in my mind, and I repeated it to a couple of clients, and we were saying how, we do all this work to build up healthy skin from within, right? We talk about all the importance of the diet and the sleep and the environment to build this healthy, beautiful, glowing skin from within. And then what does conventional aesthetics do? It peels it right off. And what the heck is the point of that? It's
Yeah.
just, it's counterproductive, it's counterintuitive. And we also know that science has shown us that we need the skin.
Well,
We need the stratum
it's
corneum. We
interesting,
need the
right? Like,
microbiome.
you wonder, with people that are going to listen to this podcast and maybe they were expecting a list of items or
I
products,
know.
and here we are.
Surprise.
But as holistic estheticians and nutritional aesthetic practitioners, I think we understand that it's with feeding and giving nutrients that we get the vibrancy. It's like a plant, you feed it, you give it nutrients. It's like your animals, you feed them, you give them nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
Our dermis is the same way. When we strip, we're sending the message to our dermis that we don't need that much. And so it gets thinner and
Yep.
weaker and thinner and weaker. And sadly, in the long run, people are going to have a very, very deep struggle with what they've done to their skin, because they've also been told to do that,
Yeah.
And so we're here to say, like, okay, eat the right foods, get the right sleep,
Yeah.
use nourishing products on your skin. And that is going to be the way for you to age naturally and look your best. And there's really no other way around it. Like, that's why our ancestors used all these great things. And I'm glad to see it coming back. I think it's
I am
fabulous.
too. I'm glad to see some of these very traditionally ancestral methods of self-care and beauty care coming back. And I love seeing, ancient remedies from all over the
Totally.
world having their moment again, because
Yes.
while some of them need to stay in the past, let's be honest, some of them do have a place continuously and are healthier choices than some of the alternatives that cosmetic chemistry and maybe medical aesthetics or cosmetic dermatology has come up with. And I know that that's not for everyone. I know that there's plenty of people who love to, peel, and they love their injections and they want to get nips and tucks, and that's fine for them. But that's just not something that I want in my life. And I think a lot of the people who are drawn to our programs, even if they work in the medical aesthetics world, they want to know, what else can we do? How can we
Yeah.
lay a better foundation
Yeah.
so
Well, and
that what we're
it's
doing is
always
actually healthy?
it's always interesting to me too, because there's so many things out there, different studies that will show what some type of plant-based medicine or herb or ingredient from nature, it outshines almost all the time these conventional products that are made. I mean, ibuprofen is outshined by turmeric, and there's
Mhm.
plenty of studies for that, tons of them. I mean, and
Yeah.
there's lots of different ingredients just like that, that outshine the conventional medicine that we're spending money to buy from companies. And I think that people have been unaware of that, but as some of this stuff gets teased out and people start to get to know it better, I think that it's really great to see people embracing a little bit more, because they're like, oh, I can get results from that, and it's not going to then cause me to have this side effect and this side effect. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, I mean, and it's really great. I think it's really great. And it's like we're coming back to a little bit more of what nature is providing us. So it's great. So all our skin hacks are natural. Big surprise.
And they're not hacks necessarily in the way that they're shortcuts, even though
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think anything we talked about today is all that time consuming. It's more about just doing a little bit consistently, which I think is kind of our MO for so many things that we teach when it comes to being healthy, is just doing
Yeah.
a little bit consistently. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I think we both expressed pleasure in the little bit that we do. Like, we talked about how we enjoy how that facial
Yeah.
massage that we give ourselves
Yes.
feels. Like, I do love a good gua sha tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
is a really beautiful jade one that one of my clients, who's also a naturopathic doctor and acupuncturist, she sold these with a beautiful gua sha oil that she formulated. And I love a good roller. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I do love the way stones feel on my face, but
Yes.
I also love the way my hands feel on my
Yes.
face. And when I put on a really rich, nourishing cream, that just, like, my skin just takes it in, and that feels satisfying.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine too, ancestrally, all the women throughout that time frame, that utilized what was in nature around them, also enjoyed like taking care of themselves that way, because we do so much, and that hasn't changed, like women have always been, taking care of their families, or maybe working on a farm, or,
Well, and gathering plants
and
for
gathering
use in
plants and using
remedies,
them,
in, you know, creams, not necessarily emulsions, but there
but
there
ways
were
to,
early emulsions, they just didn't use an emulsifier.
yeah,
But they would gather together. It was a community effort.
Yeah.
And I think that when we have these discussions, even though we're in a virtual format,
Yeah.
this is our way of trying to expand that community and
Yeah.
have these discussions together and share our secrets and share our
Yeah.
hacks, and also just let people know that whatever your skin looks like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong if you have wrinkles, if you have lines, if you have dark spots. You don't have to look a certain way or not to be valuable. So
Well,
whatever
and
you do for your skin,
health is
it
the
should be for the
focus.
pleasure of it and the health of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the thing too, is like, if your health is the focus, this is a multi-layered effect, right?
Yeah.
You're not just eating for your skin, you're eating for your overall health. So like
Yeah.
it's if you're sleeping, you're not just sleeping for your skin, you're sleeping for your overall health.
For your whole
If
body.
yeah, if you're getting yourself outside in the light and in nature and you're aligning back with the energies of the earth, like that is shifting your electrons in your body in a positive way to make you healthier, which then in turns make your skin look better. So, your skin is an organ. So people forget that because your organs are functioning a certain way and they require nourishment.
And they work together.
Yeah.
So
Can you
when
imagine putting like a peel on your liver or your kidney, right? Or like stripping it to down,
well,
like,
yeah, I
oh, I'm
mean,
going to
just
make
think
this
about how
organ better.
preposterous that sounds.
Yeah,
Who would do that? Who would
I
do
know.
that? Why do we want to do that to our faces? I mean,
Feed and
I
nourish.
know, and I
That's all
know
we
it's
need.
hard. I know that a lot of estheticians make money giving
Yeah.
peels. I understand that.
And there's a
But
look, right? Because you get a look fairly quickly, like
you
that
do,
looks vibrant and looks nice.
you get that plumpness, you get
But the
that
function,
temporary firmness.
but the function of the skin is that it's an organ, and stripping your organ. So we should start saying it like that, like stripping your organ,
Yeah.
because I think that's kind of, there's a function to our skin, a biological function. And I think that we have overlooked that in this light of commercialized beauty, right?
Like, could you imagine if on a spa menu, instead of like, oh, botanical facial peel, what if it said botanical organ peel? Do you
Right,
think people
right.
would buy that?
Right, because then it would sound a little more like, wow,
Like,
wait a minute.
let's dermaplane, let's
I
just
think
shave
I
a
want to
little off the
nourish my
top of the
organ.
liver. Like,
Yeah.
who would do that?
Yeah, we want to nourish the organ, right? And our skin
Yeah.
is our biggest
And
organ, so let's nourish it.
the stratum corneum, this dead layer, it's there for a reason. The human
Yeah.
body was designed pretty geniusly.
I know.
Whether you believe that it was designed by a deity in the sky, or we evolved from other creatures, or some combination of any of that, whatever you believe, I think we can all agree that the human body is pretty darn miraculous,
It
and that
is.
things were put in place for a reason.
Totally.
I don't think
Totally.
there were too many mistakes made. Everything has a function and works in alignment with something else.
And
And
it's biological and it's cellular. And I think for the
yeah,
average person, if they don't have the understanding and the science of how this organ actually works, and how your cells function, I think it's harder for them to see what the negative effects are of doing those other types of skincare. So I think that's where it comes in too. Whereas when you're a professional and you understand that, or maybe you have a deeper education in your biology and the cellular structure, then you understand what you're essentially doing when you do those very strong things to your skin. Whereas the average person doesn't, they're just looking at it from a very like topical perspective. And so because they don't have the ability to see all the way through, it doesn't necessarily resonate with them that it's negative or it will be bad, or in the long run is probably going to give them very thin, translucent skin that's very delicate, or their barrier is now malfunctioning. Now they're hypersensitized. I mean, we see that all the time.
Broken capillaries,
It's like,
hyperpigmentation.
yeah, I mean, it's like the age of barrier malfunction, and none of it comes from, it all comes from these very harsh applications of things. And so skin hacks are nourish the skin.
Nourish the skin, nourish,
Yeah.
hydrate, protect, let it
Your
be.
organ. Yeah.
Yeah. My skin got better when I deliberately was more hands off with it. And when I also started doing other things that we've talked about in the diet and
Mhm.
lifestyle and all that,
Mhm.
it was unbelievable how quickly my skin cleared up when I started taking a more hands-off approach
'Cause
to
it's
it and started
intelligence.
actually focusing on that nourishment and protection and hydration.
Totally.
So our hacks are, yeah, like I said before, not shortcuts, but also it's not a magic product. It's not an expensive
No.
product. It's your two hands and
Yep.
getting your two hands on some really high quality, nutrient dense products, whether it's individual ingredients that you're blending together like what I do, or if you're purchasing a high quality, nutrient dense product, and it doesn't have to be labeled a professional product or anything like that. There's plenty of product lines that focus on nutrient density.
Mhm.
That's what you want.
Totally.
You want to look at that label and see nutrients, plants, vitamins, not just synthetics. And that's where you're going to start to see more success.
Totally.
All right. Well, I love this discussion today. I always
I
love
know.
talking shop with you, Tara, and sharing our tips. And we just want to encourage those of you who are professionals who are listening. you know there's no one right way to do anything. Obviously, what we shared today, we have some pretty strong opinions between the two of us, but people come into our programs from all different backgrounds. We have people in the certified nutritional aesthetics practitioner training program who identify as like hardcore medical aesthetics, but they come into our programs because they want to learn more about how what's inside connects to the outside and vice versa, and what we can
Mhm.
do in the lifestyle to support whatever efforts we're doing. And then
Mhm.
we have people who are as crunchy green granola as you can possibly imagine, who are, again, learning what else can they do, what else can they offer their clients, how can they put that together into a comprehensive program that they can offer their clients, which will help their clients implement some of these things into their lifestyle so that they can get the results that they want faster and that those results will sustain. So we welcome everyone, whatever your ideology is regarding skincare or aesthetics. And hopefully, we're giving some good inspiration in this podcast, but we also have a lot of resources on our website at skinwellnesspro.com. We invite you to come and check out our classes. We have our elements classes, which are our NCEA-CE classes. We also have our full comprehensive certified nutritional aesthetics practitioner training program. We have our blog, which has hundreds of informative posts on there, and there's a comment section. We invite you to engage with us. And if there's any topic that you would love to hear us talk about or see
Yeah.
us write
Let
about,
us
we would love
know.
to hear from you.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tara, as always, thank you for being here with me
Thank you for
today
having
and for
me.
sharing your skin hacks.
Mhm. That
And
was
we'll be
fun.
back again soon with another episode.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.